Hundreds of years ago, long before white men came to this land, these mountains, plains, and deserts belonged to the Mescalero Apaches. Their leader, Geronimo, is also responsible for popularizing the Geronimo scream as people jump out of planes. Apache is an umbrella term for several native North American tribes. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will explore the Great American Tribe Apache. The term Apache represents various native North American tribes, including the Chiricahuas, Jicarilla, Western Apache, Kiowa, Mescalero, and Lipan, with origins likely from the Zuni word Apache meaning enemy. The term Apache and related names emerged following the arrival of European settlers. Geronimo, a military leader from the Bidonko band of the Apache, led the Apache tribe. In prehistoric times, most of the Apache tribes lived in the northern plains. Anthropological evidence suggests their journey from the northwest Pacific coast to the southwest occurred between the 13th and 15th centuries. Rather than settling in the canyonlands, they moved eastward, choosing the southern plains of Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. Following this migration, the Apache got split into eastern and western groups. Apache spoke the languages of the Athabascan family, whether their diversity was inherent or developed over time. These languages span the North Pacific coast and southwestern territories, helping historians assess Apache migration patterns. Like other cultures in the New World, their beliefs and concepts greatly contrasted with those in the Old World. Even in Mesoamerican cultures, migration was common due to climate shifts and ecological conditions. The Athabascan-speaking people left behind substantial materials, goods, and structures, aiding archaeologists in their research. These tribes lived in teepees. They hunted, gathered, cultivated crops, and traded with neighboring tribes. The Apache shared cultural similarities but exhibited distinct characteristics and practices within each tribe. A natural hierarchy emerged within extended families, typically led by a chief. The Apache tribes were frequently involved in conflicts and wars among themselves. Although the Apache had long been accustomed to internal disputes, a singular external force eventually posed a threat to their existence by invading their territory. The Spanish had set sail on their sea voyages, expanding their presence in the recently discovered region. It was in the 16th century that the Spanish encountered the Apache. Although the first encounter dates back to the Coronado expedition of 1540, the relationship was downturned by the late 16th century. By 1610, the Spanish had colonized the area, establishing the town of Santa Fe. Initially arriving in the southwest, the Apache had built a strong commercial alliance with the Pueblos. The Pueblones were local southwestern tribes who constructed permanent buildings. The Spanish encountered Pueblos primarily in New Mexico and Arizona. Despite not being completely nomadic, the Apache were different from the urban-oriented Pueblos. Despite their differences, Apache and Pueblos groups maintained a harmonious relationship. In the 17th century drought, the Spanish were unable to protect the Pueblo villages from Apache's tortures. This situation resulted in the Pueblo Rebellion of 1680, leading some Pueblos to seek refuge with the Navajos afterward. Meanwhile, the Apaches' association with the Spanish declined over time. In 1821, Mexico gained independence, and by the 1840s, tensions between the U.S. and Mexico were increasing. Following the U.S. seizure of Texas from Mexico in 1845, the two countries clashed in the Mexican-American War. Following their encounter with the Mexicans, the Apache chose to assist the U.S., providing safe passage to American soldiers through their lands. When Mexico surrendered its control, the American settlers came to the region, marking the beginning of the Apache Wars. The American settlers established control over the land, building ranches, mining, and raising livestock as symbols of their presence. Eventually, the settlers falsely accused Cochise, a native leader, of abducting a young boy during a raid. They captured Cochise and his companions, leading allied Apache tribes to invade the Americans. The tribes seized a few American individuals and ended their lives when the Americans refused to release the captives. For the sake of revenge, the Americans also ended the lives of the prisoners. However, Cochise managed to escape. The conflict was initiated in 1849, with American forces conducting search and destroy operations. Despite the natives' familiarity with the terrain, the Apache couldn't match the advanced technology and strategies of the Americans, resulting in their ultimate defeat in 1886. This forced Geronimo, the Apache leader, to surrender. Geronimo and his Apache followers symbolized the final opposition to Western expansion. By 1863, the Navajos had surrendered, followed by other groups in the early 1870s. However, some refused to leave their traditional lifestyle, continuing raids in subsequent years. During the 19th century, the U.S. government initiated programs to integrate the tribes into white American families. Shortly after, numerous Apache families settled in Mexico and the United States. Today, the largest Apache communities reside in Oklahoma, Arizona, California, and New Mexico. The Apache, celebrated for their exceptional warrior prowess, had among them one of the most formidable leaders, Geronimo. His leadership in some of the final significant resistances against the expanding influence of the United States government is a testament to his strength and strategic insight. Geronimo's remarkable defiance and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds earned him admiration from his allies and adversaries. If you found value in this video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe for more content like this.